Hi, I'm Leo. I'm one of the workshop leads for SolidWorks user group SWUG. And we're going to do a little video series just so people can follow along, or if they can't make the meetings, they'll just have someone to look at if they just want to learn about the part and they don't know exactly how to approach it. So today's video is just going to be on the general gist of SolidWorks and where it is and the things you would typically need for the exam and things like that. So let's get started. So we'll just go over, I'm just going to go over the layout of SolidWorks and things like that. So if you see in the bottom right corner, there's this thing called IPS. That's your unit system. It stands for inches, pounds, and seconds. There's different ones. So there's MMGS, CGS, and MKS. That's one part where to edit it. And then another one is if you go to the gear pair options, you click it, it'll take you to the system options general. Here, there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's also document properties. So there's different things here. You can change here. If you hit unit, you can change your unit system. Additionally, you can change the amount of decimals you see. So you click it, drop down, a bunch of different ones. Uh, and the reason why these two things are important for the exam itself is because at one point in the exam, they will ask you to give answers in certain unit systems because of the drawings, and we want these decimal places because they ask for certain decimals. So then if you look around here, you'll see on this top area, there's features, sketch, mesh modeling, and a whole bunch of other stuff. The ones that are important for us is feature, sketch, and evaluate. Yeah. So, and then you have on the left side the feature tree. And then this is what's it tells you the different planes. And when we start sketching and drawing, as well as extruding and cutting and all these other things, it'll start to show up on this side. And you'll see that later on. So we'll just get started with a simple sketch. So if you hit sketch, you can hit start a sketch. That's one of the options. Or you can right click on a plane you want to do, and then you hit this sketch thing called sketch. Different ways to enter sketch, but yeah. So we'll just hit here, sketch. And typically it doesn't matter for the SolidWorks exam where you want to start your sketch. But when you maybe use SolidWorks later on in your engineering career or just for when you're doing personal projects, having maybe it does matter more where you sketch or where you want to start your sketch. But since we're just showing the basics, I'm just gonna do it on the front plane. So if you see on the sketch, there's these different things here. There's different lines, there's smart dimension, entities, all of these things. Um, I do recommend that you guys play around with it on your own time, but I'll just go through the basic ones. So there's lines, circles, splines, rectangles, arcs, ellipses, center point straight slots, polygons, and then sketch fillets. Yeah, and then there's all these other ones. But if you click down, you'll see like on the line, there's a little arrow drop down, and there's different lines. Same with circles and all of them. So yeah. So we'll just click line, and then we're just gonna draw. You'll see that there's different lines, things like that. Yeah. So when you see here when I'm drawing these random lines that they're just gonna keep on adding. Typically they'll stop when you enclose the lines. Obviously, this isn't it's just a drawing, not even a shape, because it's just, yeah, random things. Um, if you do a drop down, you'll see that there's different center point lines and midpoint lines. But if you hit line, you can also see that another option is on the feature tree that is for construction. And if we draw that line, you'll see that it's, if I hit escape, you'll see that it's a dotted line. The difference between this solid line and a dotted line, when you extrude stuff or cut stuff, only the dotted line, not the dotted line, sorry, only the solid line will be the one that's shown. And one might ask why you want construction lines. You can use it for other things like mirroring entities, which we can show in another video. But yeah, you can also do center point, not center, yeah, center point circles. So here, just draw some circles, splines, they just draw lines, and then you can just give them different angles and things like that. You can also do rectangles. There's center rectangles, corner rectangles, is you see all the different ones, but the ones I typically use when I do my SolidWorks is center rectangle or corner rectangle. Um, yeah, here, here, things like that. And then there's center point arc. So you can draw it, you'll pull it out, and then you can draw how much of a circle you want to do. Obviously, you I don't believe you can go all the way around because that's what we have circles for, but you can get pretty close. But yeah, play around with those things on your own time, but we're just going to show you everything. Yeah. So I'm just going to clear my page. If you zoom out, if you grab from the top left corner and drag down to grab everything, you're going to have to go over the entire part in order for you to quote unquote grab that drawing. See? But if you grab from the bottom right all the way to the top left, you don't have to grab the entire piece. You can grab like a little part of that drawing or sketch and it'll highlight. So that's just ways to delete if you want to delete a lot of things at once. But just to do some simple stuff of like cutting and simple drawing. So we're going to start with a box, just with a center point. This red arrow, by the way, is your origin of the entire part that you're making. And then you can see here, this is on the XY plane or the front plane. So we're just going to start from the origin. And the reason why I start from the origin is that it makes it a lot easier to dimension stuff. Because if you draw, for example, this box over here, and when we eventually dimension like the length and the width, we would have to add another dimension to make it to the origin. And that might not make sense right now because we haven't dimensioned, but I'll show you what I mean in both options. So I'm just going to Control Z to delete the box, but here. So let's just start from the origin here. And then I'll draw another box so you guys can see the difference of what I mean. So we'll hit escape. So let's smart dimension. Smart dimension means you're just giving what you're drawing, your sketches, uh, its full defined amount, or like I said, the smart dimension. So you'll hit a line, and the line you want to hit or a line, or when you know you're going to hit something, it'll turn orange. So hit that line, and I'll bring up some number, 5.12. Awesome. By smart dimensioning it, you can assign random numbers. For this case, let's just do 10. And you might have noticed that it said 5 point something. Um, and into some person's mind, why didn't this box change its, maybe double its size? The reason why is when you first set that number, SolidWorks will just auto change its quote unquote scaling of everything. So now if I hit this one, 3.95, that's the 3.95. And this is not really a big deal, but yeah, let's just do some random number like 4, make a cool even number. Yeah. I should also mention when you are doing like dimensions, for example, like you can change your dimensions. Let's hit check. You can hit this. You can change your modifier dimension. You can type in like, for example, let's take 5, and maybe you don't want inches. Maybe you like see your drawing and for some reason you didn't change your unit system. You can change it from like 5. Let's just see you have those numbers like 5 millimeters. You can type in, or let's just do a big number. We'll do like 10 millimeters. SolidWorks will automatically do the calculations to change it into inches. So yeah. So the reason why I'm doing the dimensions on the origin now is, let's say we just make this 10. Cool. And 4. These are the exact same dimensions as this box. But the reason why this box isn't defined is because we don't know how far this box is in relation to the origin. And we can also tell that a part or a drawing or sketch is defined when it has these black lines. Blue, like these blue lines or semi-dark blue lines, however you want to look at it, represent that they're not defined. If you click it, light blue means that part is being you selected that part or sketch. So yeah, so now if I hit a smart dimension of maybe from origin of this, or yeah, the center of the rectangle to the origin, I do that. You might need a few things to define it, right? Just play around just to see what you need to do. Right? Awesome. And that's it's just a pain to like find all those other things. So that's why I just do one that's why I start with origin typically. So let's just start with a simple box. Cool. Uh we'll go exit the sketch. And you know your sketch additionally is fully defined because it'll if it's not defined, it'll have a little minus sign. So we'll go to features, we'll do extrude boss base on our sketch, extrude boss base. So what this does is just saying how like how thick you want your piece, or it's height is an example, but there's different options. So it says direction one, direction two, thin feature, and selected contours. If you when you're doing simple designs, like for example a box, just keep direction one. Um, and if you hit this arrow, it reverses the way that it's what your sketch is coming out. So there's different ways. There's blinds, up to surf vertex, up to surface, offset from surface, up to body midplane. Typically, you will, common ones I feel are you either blind, midplane, or up to surface. It really just depends. It's a user preference. Once you have that, you change your dimension. Blind, just tells you how much you want to, like how you have to tell SolidWorks how much you want to let the thickness be. So like 10, for example, 10 inches, and it'll be 10 inches. You hit check, cool, awesome. We have now a 10 by 10 by 4, uh, something like that, box. So once you do that, you have different options of doing other jazz. So let's just say you want to make a hole on this box. True, you have different options of sketching it. You can either do the top plane, or you can hit the the face of your box and do it. Like I said, this says sketch, hit that. Cool. Now let's do a circle. Awesome. So if we hit our circle, we can do this. And we'll just do some other lines because it's also important to learn some of the other ways to define things. So here, make a box. You could have done rectangle, but I just felt like sketching it. So what we're going to do is, since we already defined this box, we don't have to necessarily define it to the origin. We can just define it with the box because the box itself is defined. So we'll smart dimension. If you draw a circle, you'll see here. You'll see a symbol here. Let's just hit check. Awesome. Skip. So you see this uh circle line represents the diameter. If I am grabbing, for example, a center point arc, just to show, and I wanted to smart dimension it, it'll have an R, and the R represents the radius. So that's very important to know because later on, when we do sketches and you'll see the sketches from or the drawings from in the exam, they'll have R's in these little circles and lines. And that's very important for people to know the difference. Because if you mix these up, the math can be extremely off for your parts or densities. Awesome. Delete let's not delete that. We'll delete this. Cool. So yes, awesome. So we already defined this, but we need to give it some core. We can do other relations besides smart dimensioning it. So one option is if you click the center, left click it, hold your shift key, and then maybe hit like the origin, it'll drop down properties. And you see your selected entities, your existing relations, and how you want to relate the two. So we'll just do like vertical. So yeah, that's just different ways to do those. There's other ones like here, like hit a point, and then maybe this corner, there's coincident, which just does that. But there's a whole bunch of other different ones. We're just gonna go over the simple basics. So in my following videos, when I go to explaining the parts in detail, you'll understand those things. But yeah, so we'll just define everything. However, we'll just do here to aside. Awesome. Oh, and if you over define something like that, how I just did here, 5, it'll say that it's over sketch is over defined or unable to solve. So When that happens, it means you're just defining something way too many times. And ways to solve that is by just delete. You have to gonna just have to delete your relationships to solve the issue. So hit that. Once that's all good, see it's defined. We'll just do that number, and then we'll just do this. Cool. Awesome. Awesome. Fully defined now. Oh, it is not. Okay. Well, let's see what we can do. I guess we can just do here to yeah. Well, we'll just delete the box because why not? Awesome. Cool. Now that we have that, we'll exit the sketch. We'll go to extrude cut. Similar with boss base, there's different ways of extruding of how you want to do it. So you can do blind through all both. So there's just actually there's a couple more things. Um, Depending on what your cut is or how much you need to cut, you choose different ones. So let's just do up to surface. So what that means is you how far you want to cut this up to. So we're just going to do hit this, and there's that, and you can cut. Boom. So here we just made a little simple circle, hole through a box. That's just the general gist of it, of the really basics of SolidWorks, what we'll do. As we go on through these videos, there's other stuff, and I'll explain what each thing's do when it comes. But yeah, that's just the general gist of how to draw, do some simple sketches, extruding, boss base, relations, and smart dimension. Those are the general gist of this video, and important things to know. Not too difficult to understand, but important nonetheless. Um, so yeah, thank you for listening and watching the video.